The hum of Soweto was my lullaby, the rhythm of its streets, the beat of my heart. I was just Kwezi then, another face in the crowd, dreaming of something more. My go-go, she always said I was destined for greatness. She'd tell me stories of our ancestors, of a power that ran through our bloodline, a legacy waiting to be claimed. I'd just laugh, thinking they were just old tales. Then she passed, and my world tilted. Her last gift to me wasn't just a memory, it was a talisman, cold and ancient, pulsing with a life of its own. When I first held it, a jolt, like lightning, shot through me. The world warped, colors intensified, sounds became symphonies. I could feel the city's pulse, its every breath. The talisman wasn't just jewelry, it was a key. It unlocked something inside me, a strength I never knew I possessed, a speed that blurred the world around me. Go-Go's stories weren't just stories, they were my inheritance. Johannesburg, the city of gold, called to me. It wasn't just about finding a better job, it was about finding my purpose. I was going to be a hero. Leaving Soweto felt like shedding a skin. The familiar streets faded into the rearview mirror, replaced by the towering skyscrapers of Josie. My new costume, inspired by the vibrant patterns and colors of our heritage, felt like a second skin. It was a symbol of where I came from and who I was meant to be. I wasn't just Kwezi anymore. I was a protector, a guardian. I perched on a rooftop, the city sprawling beneath me like a galaxy of lights. This was it. This was my stage. My first night was a blur of small victories. A person-snatcher stopped in his tracks, a family saved from a fender bender. It felt good, easy even. I was invincible. The city whispered its secrets to me, the fear of its people, the shadows that lurked in its alleys. I was ready for anything. Or so I thought. I was riding a wave of confidence, surfing on the adrenaline of my newfound abilities, completely unaware of the storm brewing on the horizon. Then the lights began to flicker. One by one, entire blocks plunged into darkness. A collective gasp echoed through the concrete canyons. This wasn't a normal power outage. It was a drain, a void sucking the life out of the city. A figure emerged from the shadows, wreathed in crackling, negative energy. He was a silhouette against the dying lights, a man who called himself Blackout. He wasn't just turning off the power, he was feeding on it. I didn't hesitate. This was my moment, my first real test. I shot towards him, a blur of color and righteous fury. "Hey, party's over," I yelled, my voice ringing with a confidence I didn't entirely feel. He turned slowly, his face obscured by a swirling vortex of energy. There was a low hum, a feeling of immense pressure, and then he simply laughed, a sound like grinding metal. I threw a punch, expecting to send him flying. My fist met a wall of solid energy that threw me back, skidding across the asphalt. The impact rattled my bones. He hadn't even moved. I came at him again, this time with speed, weaving and dodging, a flurry of strikes aimed at his core. Each blow was absorbed, deflected, or simply dissolved into the darkness surrounding him. It was like fighting a ghost, a black hole that consumed everything. Blackout raised a hand, and tendrils of dark electricity lashed out, wrapping around my limbs. The energy was cold, draining my strength, pulling the power right out of the talisman. I felt my speed vanish, my strength ebb away. The vibrant colors of my suit seemed to dim, and the connection to the city's pulse weakened to a faint thrum. He was siphoning my power, turning my own gift against me. He lifted me effortlessly, my feet dangling uselessly above the ground. "You call yourself a hero?" he rasped, his voice a chilling echo. You're just a child, playing with a toy you don't understand." He tightened his grip, and the talisman on my chest grew cold, its light flickering like a dying candle. The pain was excruciating, a deep, hollow ache that wasn't just physical. It was my hope, my confidence, being ripped away. With a final surge of dark energy, he flung me into a nearby building. The world exploded into a shower of concrete and dust. I lay there, broken and defeated, the taste of blood in my mouth. Blackout absorbed the last of the district's electricity, plunging us into absolute darkness before vanishing as silently as he had appeared. The silence was deafening, broken only by my own ragged breaths. Lying in the rubble, the cold weight of the now dormant talisman on my chest, I felt the full weight of my failure. I had come to the city dreaming of being a superhero, but my first real challenge had left me shattered. Gogo's legacy felt like a burden too heavy to carry. Was I truly ready for this? Was I worthy of this power? As the first sirens wailed in the distance, I looked at my reflection in a shard of broken glass. The hero I saw wasn't invincible. He was just a man from Soweto, lost, alone, and questioning everything. My journey had just begun, but it started not with a victory, but with a fall. The city skyline, a familiar comfort, now feels alien. This power thrumming under my skin, it's too much. The talisman, a relic I barely understand, has turned my world upside down. One minute I'm Kwezi, just a guy from Soweto. The next, I'm this. I need answers, and there's only one place to find them. I'm going home. The streets of Soweto are a bomb to my frayed nerves. The smell of braai, the sound of kids playing sockets, real. My Gogo's house stands, as it always has, a beacon of strength. I find her in the garden, her hands tending to the earth with a gentle wisdom I desperately need. She looks up, and her eyes, deep and knowing, see right through my bravado. She sees the fear. Kwezi, my boy. Her voice is calm, a gentle river. She takes my hand, her fingers tracing the ancient symbols on the talisman. This is not a toy, it is a legacy. It chooses its bearer, not for strength, but for heart. I try to explain the chaos, the uncontrollable energy, but she simply nods. The power it grants is immense, but it demands something in return. Balance. You cannot just take, you must also give. You must be the shield, not the storm. So, the training begins. Not in some high-tech lab, but right here, in the heart of Soweto. My go-go teaches me focus, not with weights, but with stillness. Feel the energy of the earth beneath your feet, she instructs. Draw from it, don't just command it. I practice for hours, channeling the raw power into controlled bursts, learning to shape it, to become one with it. It's a dance, a delicate negotiation between my will and the talisman's ancient spirit. I stumble, I fall, but each time I rise, I feel a little more in control, a little less like a puppet. Days blur into a rhythm of sweat and concentration. I learn to leap between rooftops, not with brute force, but with a whisper of energy. I learn to project shields that ripple with the patterns of my Enderble-inspired suit. It's more than just fighting. It's about understanding the flow, the give and take. Go-Go says the talisman amplifies what's already inside. I have to be worthy. I have to be more than just a man with a powerful stone. I have to be a protector. Suddenly, a chill cuts through the warm afternoon. The power in my go-go's house flickers and dies. My phone buzzes with frantic alerts from the city. I look towards the horizon, where Johannesburg should be a sea of light. Now, it's a void. An unnatural, suffocating darkness is spreading, swallowing the city whole. A cold dread coils in my stomach. This is no ordinary power outage. A voice, distorted and cold, crackles across every emergency broadcast, every radio still running on batteries. People of Johannesburg, your age of light is over. I am blackout, and I bring the cleansing darkness. Panic erupts in the streets. This is it. The test my grandmother spoke of. The reason the talisman chose me. The time for training is over. He is also a child of the old power, Kwezi, my go-go says, her eyes fixed on the darkened skyline. But he has embraced only the shadow. You must be the light that meets him. She places a hand on my shoulder, her touch firm, grounding. Remember the balance. Remember who you are fighting for. I nod, the fear now replaced by a steel resolve. I am Kwezi, son of Soweto, guardian of the light. My suit materializes around me, its vibrant colors a stark contrast to the encroaching gloom. I take a deep breath, feeling the power of the talisman settle within me, calm and focused. I leap into the air, a comet of gold and blue, streaking towards the heart of the darkness, towards him, towards blackout. The city is counting on me. I won't let them down. Johannesburg is a ghost town, shrouded in an eerie silence. The only light comes from my own energy, casting long, dancing shadows. Blackout is here, somewhere. I can feel his presence, a cold, parasitic energy draining the life from the city. This isn't just about turning off the lights. He's feeding on the fear, on the chaos. I land on the Carlton Center, the highest point, and scan the abyss below, looking for me, hero. The voice echoes from all around, disembodied and mocking. Figures of pure shadow detach themselves from the alleyways, their forms shifting and unstable. They swarm towards the base of the building. This is his army, born from the darkness he commands. My fight has just begun. I dive into the fray, a blur of motion and light, striking the shadow creatures and watching them dissolve into nothingness. But they are endless. For every one I dispatch, two more emerge from the inky blackness. This is a war of attrition. He wants to wear me down, to extinguish my light. I have to find the source. I have to find Blackout himself. Focusing my energy, I send out a pulse, a sonar of light, trying to locate the heart of this unnatural night. A spike of cold energy responds from the direction of the Newtown cooling towers. Got him! Blasting my way through the remaining shadow creatures, I race towards Newtown. The air grows colder, heavier. He's waiting for me. I see him, standing atop the massive concrete structure, a silhouette against the starless sky. He's a void in human form, darkness clinging to him like a cloak. So, the new talisman bearer has come to play, Blackout says, his voice dripping with contempt. You wear that power like a child wears his father's coat. It doesn't fit you. It chose me to stop you, I retort, landing opposite him, the ground crackling with the energy between us. You're poisoning this city. He laughs, a hollow, grating sound. I am cleansing it. Light creates shadows, but in total darkness, all are equal. He raises his hands, and tendrils of pure darkness lash out, fast as lightning. I raise a shield, the impact rattling me to my core. His power is raw, destructive, the complete opposite of the balance I've been taught. This is more than a fight for a city. It's a fight for the very soul of this power. And I am ready. Thank you for watching this episode of Kwezi. If you enjoyed the action, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss what happens next. We'll see you in episode 3. The city I love, Johannesburg, plunged into an artificial night. This wasn't a normal power cut. This was an attack. A man calling himself Blackout had seized City Power HQ, holding my home hostage. My grandmother's words echoed in my mind. The talisman demands balance. Well, Blackout had just tipped the scales, and it was my job to set them right. Soweto felt a world away now. The training, the struggle to understand the power humming in the talisman around my neck. It all led to this. I wasn't just Kwezi, the kid from the neighborhood, anymore. As I raced towards the city center, the South African-inspired design of my suit felt heavier, a mantle of responsibility. I was the city's new hope, whether I was ready or not. The city power building loomed like a dark giant, pulsing with a malevolent energy. Inside, Blackout was waiting. He was a silhouette against a backdrop of crackling, stolen electricity, a phantom draining the life from Johannesburg. "You think you can stop me, boy?" he sneered, his voice like grinding metal. "This city is a monument to inequality. I'm just flipping the switch." Sparks flew as I met his first blast. The air tasted of ozone and fury. This wasn't like training. This was real. Every punch, every dodge was a desperate gamble. He was controlling the raw power of the grid, weaving whips of lightning that lashed out, tearing chunks from the walls around us. I was just one man against a storm. I could feel the talisman responding to the chaos, pulling at the energy in the room, wanting to absorb it. My grandmother's training kicked in. Focus, control, don't let the power consume you. I had to be a conduit, not just a container. I deflected a bolt of pure energy, the impact jarring my bones, and sent a shockwave of my own back at him. The battle raged, a whirlwind of light and shadow. Blackout was relentless, throwing everything he had at me. The building groaned under the strain of our fight. Consoles exploded, sending showers of sparks into the air. He was trying to overload me, to force the talisman to break its balance and destroy me from within. "You're just a child with a toy you don't understand," he roared, unleashing a massive torrent of electricity. I raised my arms, bracing for the impact, and felt the talisman surge. It wasn't just defending me. It was drawing the power in, channeling it. I could feel the entire city's grid, a vast network of dead wires waiting for a spark. This was my chance. Instead of fighting his power, I would use it. I let the energy flow through me, through the talisman, becoming the heart of a new circuit. It was agony, a lightning storm inside my own body, but I held on, focusing on one single thought: bring back the lights, bring back hope. With a final, desperate push, I redirected the energy. Not at Blackout, but outwards, back into the grid. A wave of pure, clean power radiated from the headquarters. All across Johannesburg, from Sandton to Soweto, lights flickered back to life. The hum of a living city returned, pushing back the oppressive silence. Blackout collapsed, his power source gone, the darkness in his eyes replaced with shock. He was just a man again. As the authorities led him away, he looked back at me, a grim warning on his lips. "This isn't over," he whispered. "The city itself is the real villain. Others are coming." His words were chilling, but as I stood there, bathed in the renewed glow of Johannesburg, I knew my path. The training, the fight, it was all just the beginning. I am Kwezi. The city is my home, my responsibility. Whatever is coming, I'll be here to face it. I am its protector. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you're ready for what comes next, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. The story of Kwezi is just getting started. We'll see you in the next episode. They're calling me a hero now. Can you believe it? From Gold City, nobody, to the face on every street corner. Murals in Soweto, kids in the park screaming my name, news channels running my story 24/7. It felt good, I won't lie. Seeing my face, Kwezi, painted across the city. It felt like I was finally making a real difference. Like all this power wasn't just some cosmic accident. It felt like purpose. But fame, I'm learning, is a double-edged sword. The brighter the light you shine, the darker the shadows you cast. And in those shadows, something was watching, waiting. My name wasn't just being chanted by kids anymore. It was being whispered in boardrooms, sterile offices high above the city. Places where men in expensive suits trade lives like stocks. A corporate syndicate, a name I still don't know, decided my power wasn't mine to keep. They saw the talisman not as a responsibility, but as a resource. An ancient African power source they could own, control, and exploit. And to get it, they were willing to pay. They hired the best, the most ruthless mercenaries money could buy, and sent them to collect their prize. Me, Santon, the city of glass and steel, a world away from the streets I grew up on. I was perched on a skyscraper, the wind whipping around me, watching the city lights sparkle like a scattered galaxy below. It was a rare moment of peace. Then the silence shattered. A glint of metal in the moonlight, a whisper of movement too fast for a normal eye. They came from all sides, ghosts in tactical gear, emerging from the shadows of the rooftop. They weren't like Blackout, driven by rage. These were professionals. Cold, efficient, and armed to the teeth. The fight was a blur of motion. I dodged a volley of energy blasts that seared the concrete where I'd just stood. I slammed one attacker into a ventilation unit, the metal groaning under the impact. Another came at me with electrified batons, the air crackling with deadly energy. This wasn't a brawl. It was a deadly dance on the edge of a 100-story drop. They were coordinated, anticipating my moves, forcing me back, trying to box me in. I used the talisman's power, pushing it to its limits, creating energy shields that buckled under their assault, firing concussive blasts that they absorbed with their own advanced tech. They were relentless. I disarmed one, sending his weapon spinning into the night, only to have two more take his place. A searing pain shot through my shoulder as a specialized dart found its mark, its contents making the world swim before my eyes. My strength was failing. These guys weren't trying to beat me. They were trying to capture me, to dissect me. I had to get away. Gathering the last of my energy, I unleashed a massive wave of power, a desperate, uncontrolled explosion that sent them staggering back. It was my only chance. I threw myself off the side of the building. The fall felt like an eternity. The wind roared in my ears as the glittering city rushed up to meet me. For a second, I thought it was over, but instinct, or maybe the talisman itself, took over. I channeled a burst of energy to my feet, slowing my descent just enough to crash through the canopy of a large tree in a nearby park, instead of splattering on the pavement. I landed hard, bruised, bleeding, the tranquilizer dart still throbbing in my shoulder. I lay there, gasping for air, ribs screaming in protest. I pulled myself to my feet, every muscle aching. The sand-toned skyline loomed over me, a monument to the power I was now up against. I had been so naive, so focused on the immediate threats, the street-level thugs, and a single crazed villain. My grandmother's words echoed in my mind. The talisman demands balance. I thought she meant balancing the good with the bad, my life with my duty. But now I see. It's about the balance of power on a scale I never imagined. Blackout. He wasn't the endgame. He was just the opening act. Now I understand. There are bigger forces at play, hidden puppeteers pulling strings from their corporate thrones. They don't want to destroy the city. They want to own everything in it, including me. My power isn't just a gift, it's a target. They see it as a key, and they will stop at nothing to take it. They nearly succeeded tonight. They showed me how vulnerable I still am, how much I still have to learn. This fight is no longer just for the streets of Gold City. It's for my own survival. They've declared war, and I'm their primary target. But if they think a few assassins and some fancy tech can stop me, they've got another thing coming. They've made this personal. They've shown me the true face of the enemy, and it's not a monster. It's a spreadsheet. It's greed wearing a $1,000 suit. They wanted the talisman. They're about to find out exactly what it can do. My training, my real training, starts now. Kwezi, the hero of the people, is about to become the nightmare of the powerful. Let them come. I'll be ready. Thank you so much for watching this deep dive into Kwezi's world. If you love seeing this incredible South African hero come to life, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns and comic adventures. Let me know in the comments what you think of these new corporate villains. We'll see you in the next video. Stay powerful. The city's heartbeat, once a drum beating in my honor, now pounds with a rhythm of fear. News channels flash my face, not as a hero, but as a menace. They twist my actions, morphing rescue into recklessness. The headlines scream Kwezi, threat or savior. The very people I swore to protect now look at me with suspicion, their trust eroding like a sandcastle against the tide. Johannesburg is turning on me. It's a bitter pill to swallow. Every shadow feels like an enemy, every whisper a condemnation. The syndicate isn't just fighting me in the streets. They're poisoning the well, turning public opinion into their sharpest weapon. They've released doctored footage, splicing moments of chaos to frame me as the cause. Now, when I patrol the skyline, I see curtains drawn, faces turning away. The cheers have been replaced by a chilling silence. The betrayal cut deeper than any blade. Captain Ned Love, a man I trusted, a man who saw what I could do for this city, was the leak. He fed them everything: my movements, my patterns, my vulnerabilities. I remember our conversations, the shared hope for a safer Johannesburg. It was all a lie. He sold me out, and with me, the city's hope. The sting of his treachery is a constant, burning reminder that I am truly alone. Now I'm a ghost in my own city. The rooftops that were once my sanctuary are now exposed ground. I move through the forgotten alleyways and tunnels beneath the streets, a phantom haunted by the life I used to have. The weight of it all presses down on me. The isolation is a physical ache, a cold emptiness where the city's warmth used to be. Every siren sounds like they're coming for me. The neon lights of the city blur through a dirty window pane in my hideout. Doubt, a venomous seed, has taken root in my soul. Is this city, a city that so easily cast me aside, even worth saving? Why spill my blood for those who now curse my name? The faces of the frightened and the doubtful flash in my mind. The exhaustion is overwhelming. Maybe they're right. Maybe I am the problem. My grandmother finds me in the shadows, her presence a quiet strength in the suffocating silence. She sees the storm in my eyes, the fracture in my spirit. She doesn't offer empty platitudes or easy answers. Instead, she places a hand on my shoulder, its warmth seeping through the fabric of my suit, grounding me. She looks out at the distant, glittering skyline, her voice as steady as the ancient earth. You feel their fear, their anger, she says, not as a question, but as a statement. They are quick to build you up, and quicker still to tear you down. But you are not fighting for their applause, Kwezi, you never were. She turns to face me, her eyes holding the wisdom of generations. You fight because it is the right thing to do. You fight because the land remembers. This soil holds the memory of every hero who stood when others ran. It remembers their sacrifice, even when the people forget. Your power comes from this land. Your duty is to it, not to the fleeting praise of a crowd. Her words are not a command, but a reminder of a deeper truth. The talisman on my chest hums faintly, a resonance with her voice, with the very ground beneath my feet. The land remembers. It's a purpose beyond fame, beyond acceptance. It's a sacred pact. A fire, small but fierce, rekindles within me. The doubt hasn't vanished, but it's no longer the only voice I hear. The syndicate won't wait for me to find my resolve. They've already made their next move. A tremor shakes the foundations of my hideout. An explosion rips through the night sky, painting it a hellish orange. It's close. Too close, they've found me. Or worse, they're tearing another piece of the city apart, daring me to show my face. The time for hiding is over. The land remembers, and so will they. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Kwezi. It means the world to us. If you're enjoying the journey and want to see what happens next, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. Your support allows us to keep telling this story. See you in the next one. The city I love, Johannesburg, is plunged into an artificial night. Blackout, the tech syndicate, has severed the power, turning every street into a shadow, a hunting ground. They think this will break us, make us kneel. They're wrong. They've just given me the perfect cover. From the rooftops of Soweto to the silent towers of Santon, a new darkness has fallen. But my grandmother's words echo in my mind. The talisman demands balance. For every shadow, there must be a light, and tonight, I am that light. The city is holding its breath, waiting for a hero. They're about to get one. A roar tears through the silence. It's not a machine, it's something monstrous. On the street below, he stands. Iron Fang, a bio-enhanced warrior, twisted by Blackout's stolen tech. He's their ultimate weapon. Their final play to seize control of Johannesburg. He looks up, his eyes glowing with a sickening energy, and I know this is it, the final battle. I leap from the rooftop, the air rushing past me. I land hard, the pavement cracking under the impact. Iron Fang doesn't flinch, he just grins, a predator's smile. Kwezi, he growls, his voice a distorted echo. They sent a boy to fight a god. He charges, faster than anything I've ever faced. His fists are like hammers, each blow sending shockwaves through my body. I block and parry, the talisman on my chest glowing brighter with each impact. He's relentless, strong, fueled by stolen power and pure rage. The streets of Joburg become our arena. A blur of motion and raw energy. This isn't just a fight. It's a war for the soul of the city. I throw him through the wall of an abandoned building. Dust and debris fill the air. For a moment, there's silence. But he emerges from the rubble, barely scratched. Is that all you have, Protector? He taunts. He's learning, adapting. He's pushing me back, overwhelming me. The talisman is burning against my skin, screaming. I'm losing. He has me pinned, his metallic claws digging into my shoulders. The pain is immense. The city's hope is fading. I can feel it. This city will fall, he snarls, his face inches from mine. And you will fall with it. In that moment of desperation, I remember her words again. Push beyond the known. Find the balance. I close my eyes and focus. Not on the pain, not on the fear, but on the energy within. The talisman isn't just a source of power, it's a part of me. I let go of control, surrendering to its will. A surge of untamed energy explodes from my chest, throwing Iron Fang back. I feel different, lighter. A blinding light erupts from my back. It solidifies, taking shape. Wings, not of feather or flesh, but of pure, golden energy, crackling with the power of 1,000 suns. I rise from the ground, hovering above the ruined street. The darkness of the blackout seems to shrink away from my light. Iron Fang stares up in disbelief, his arrogance replaced by a flicker of fear. What are you?" he stammers. I don't answer. With a single thought, I shoot into the sky, a golden comet against the blackness. I am Kwezi, I am the balance. The hunt is over. Now the fight begins. I dive, a bolt of living lightning. The air shrieks as I descend. I slam into him with the force of a meteor, my energy wings wrapping around us in a dome of light. We crash through the streets, a blur of gold and steel. The city watches, silent, as its protector battles the monster in its heart. He's fighting back, more feral than ever. But he can't match this new power. I'm faster, stronger. Every punch, every kick is imbued with the talisman's full potential. I'm not just fighting him, I'm purging the stolen tech from his body, burning away the syndicate's corruption with my light. The final blow is not one of anger, but of purpose. I channel all my energy into one concentrated blast. It hits him square in the chest, and the light engulfs him. He screams, not in pain, but as if being released. The enhancements shatter, the stolen tech fizzles out, and he collapses. Just a man once more. The lights across Johannesburg flicker back to life, one by one, chasing the shadows away. The syndicate's network is broken. Their weapon is defeated. People pour into the streets, their faces turned upward, not in fear, but in awe. They cheer, a wave of sound that washes over the city. They're cheering for me. From a rooftop, I watch them. My home, safe. The energy wings fade, and I'm just me, again, the South African-inspired patterns of my suit catching the renewed city light. They call me a hero, a savior. They don't know the truth. They don't know what's coming. I can feel it, a faint tremor in the energy that connects all things. This was just a test. Blackout was just the beginning. The talisman's power is a beacon, and it has just alerted things far older and more powerful than a corporate syndicate. Standing alone, with the cheers of my city rising below, I look out at the horizon, a heavy truth settling in my heart. I whisper the words into the night air, a promise to myself and a warning to the unseen forces now turning their gaze toward my world. This is only the beginning. More are coming. Thank you so much for watching the finale of Kwezi, Rise of the Talisman. Your support has been incredible. If you want to see what comes next, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss a thing. The journey is far from